Get ready to build bolder shoulders with these 33 deltoid drills you can do at home or take to the gym. I'm BJ Gaddour, the former fitness director for the Men's Health brand, and you know what? The shoulders are such a beautiful area to build, right? Wider, more sculpted shoulders give you the illusion of leanness, making your waist look smaller. They make you look impressive, whether you have clothes on or not, preferably not, right? So that's when the real fun happens. But ultimately, what ends up happening in a lot of people's quest to get jacked up top, they get shoulder injuries because they're stiff, they're missing range of motion. I'm gonna help you build a mobility and stability foundation. The wider the base, the taller the building, all right? The more stable the gains for the long haul, okay? Plus a bunch of drills that help you get strong, more muscle, you name it. You wanna get after these drills today. This is a master class in not only shoulder, but upper body training. I also have a bunch of upper body follow-along workouts with progression. I start at ground zero. I build you up to superhero. Be sure to check those out as part of my YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed these drills. They've done a number of good things for me and helping me get better at dips, pull-ups, presses, push-ups, overhead work. They're gonna help you today. Let's get after it, okay? Get ready to get those jumping going, okay? See ya. For the one arm back to hand, start in a fetal position, roll to your back, and you'll notice one leg is straight, one leg is bent. The bent leg is the same side as the loaded hand. I'm gonna go from back to forearm to hand, and I'm really focused on driving this support hand underground for shoulder stability and strength. The one-arm bridge shrug targets the rear delts, the lats, and the lower traps by working scapular depression. It's kind of like training the dip shrug, but one arm at a time, because a one-arm dip shrug would be damn near impossible. Now I want you to start doing this from a seated position and really focus on getting that shoulder all the way to the ear at the bottom and then packing it all the way down at the top. You can make it harder by lifting the hips or holding a dumbbell at shoulder level or overhead. For the one-arm bridge, you start at the end of the back to hand. This leg, notice I'm on the outside of the foot. Foot is flat on this leg. I'm going to extend up, and I'm gonna hold that position briefly, and then come right back down. The key on this is this shoulder, no, yes, pack it down, and keep it there the whole way. The one-arm overhead scap press trains scapular upward rotation and elevation. It also sets the foundation for all overhead work. You've got to start with a light 5 to 10 pound bell, and you've got to make sure you do it from a split stance and keep your abs crunched so we're not hyperextending the back to get false range of motion. So root yourself down, try to get that shoulder up to the ear, and then pack all the way down. For the lateral hinge, you start at the end of the leg sweep stage, and I go from this position to a split kneel. Notice how the body forms a 90-degree angle. And I can make it harder by going from hand to forearm. The one-arm pull-up shrug is my go-to shoulder stretch, and it's the key to getting the mobility you need for flawless pull-up form. So really focus on shrugging the shoulder up towards the ear, crunching the abs, and then try to pack it all the way down, feeling a big activation of the rear delt, the lat, and also the low traps, which pull the shoulder blades down. Now, my favorite way to do this is the easiest option, parallel stance. I like doing it from a split stance, which actually increases the loading on this arm and the stretch in the hip. For the leg sweep, you start at the top of the bridge and staying high to allow space for the leg to come underneath. I'm just gonna slide that straight leg under my body into a split kneel, keep my eyes up at the bell, and then repeat. scap press trains scapular protraction and sets the foundation for chest presses. Focus on pushing the knuckles skyward and then driving that shoulder underground. For the overhead lunge, you start at the end of the lateral hinge, drive this knee underground, fully extend the hips, keep the abs crunched, keep the bicep right alongside the ears, and really press the knuckles up. You're going to exhale up to a stand, and then slowly inhale through the nose down. If you have ceiling issues or it's too hard with the arm overhead, just keep it at shoulder level the whole way. The one-arm Scap Row is a great exercise to strengthen your scapular retraction muscles. It also sets the foundation for rows. I like to do it off the edge of a bench or step so I can get that full extension at the bottom, that full reach, and I want to be very active with this down arm for stability. I'm asking you to start in a get-up because that's actually how I want you to set up to do external rotations. And I see this exercise done, and I was there too, especially as a young idiot, really stiff, like really rigid with it. But what you want to do is kind of really drive the knee out and get as much flexion in the hip, knee, and ankle as you can, and then use that elbow to push that hip away. Now I've got full protraction of the shoulder blades. I'm locked in. Inhale down, and when I'm here too, like, have some fun, mess around. You've got that ability to really drive the elbow up and get a unique rowing angle using the leverage or sliding action of the elbow. But anyway, we're just gonna burn out the external rotators. You can really never do inhale down enough of these, and try to really get some range of motion, but start light. Start with a fist or a soup can. I'm using a 5. This is plenty. I'm not the smallest guy in the world. I'm 40 and old as fuck, but I'm not the smallest guy in the world. And this 5-pound dumbbell is testing me in terms of sustained contraction and range of motion in a way. If I went 10 or 15 or 20 and I'm gonna blow out these small muscles. These are small muscles. These are small muscles. Okay, leave them alone. Go slow, go light, go full range of motion, and focus on contraction. And we can also do this with a band. So I'll give you an option. I don't know if you have access to a band for this particular workout. You just selected a dumbbell workout, whatever else. But take the band, get it just about fist height with the arm bent at 90 degrees, okay? So look, you can even start like this so you know that you get full range. Just come in, set, exhale all the way out, and pin that elbow tight to the oblique or love handle area. Inhale back. And again, focus on as much range of motion. Drive the elbow into the hip and kind of push away and just swivel. Get that elbow right into that hip pelvic crest right here, right above the pelvis, and just swivel and dig into it. You can go slow in the beginning, then mix in some faster reps without losing your shoulder positioning. And obviously we're gonna do both sides because we're fixing the balances between sides. The one-arm Suitcase Shrug trains your upper traps, but also your obliques as it stabilizes and trying to fight the tilting and turning forces of being loaded on one side. Now the big focus here, you gotta keep the weight away from your body and focus on getting all the way up. Try to shrug and then squeeze and contract the upper traps to the top, and then try to get a really deep stretch at the bottom of the exercise. Just warming up for this particular exercise, and here's another great option with that dip support to get the hips going. But I get into this position, 2-to-1 dip shrug to dip, okay? Again, I like that palm focus to get the pecs max out and really get that full depression of the scapula, right? This is what you're working here. And it's when I self-assist, you know, you can start to, at about rep 1 might be tough. And you kind of swivel around, move around, really focus on the breathing aspect, right? Inhale in, fully exhale, and then push away, all right? So we start self-assisted, shoulders to the ears, go turtle head, and then push away and almost like drive the toes into the ground, right? And then we do our inhale down, it's sweaty, exhale up. And you notice when I'm here, look at that, from the side, vertical forearm position, all right? From the side, come on over here, show me some love, all right? So we don't wanna be here, I wanna get nice and proud chest. Now, doing this is much harder, obviously, if we go into full dip support, but it's gonna chisel the entire upper body. Ooh, why not, oh baby. You'll get there. The band overhead press trains upward scapular rotation, targeting the upper traps and the levator scapula. The key focus here is make sure we're not hyperextending the back to get the range of motion. Crunch the abs, squeeze the glutes, and shrug those shoulders as high as you can towards the ears. Now I can also do this by taking a scap bar or a stick or a PVC pipe, putting it just like this. A neutral grip tends to be a little more joint friendly, and just doing the exact same movement, just like that. All right, baby, we're in the, you go one way, you gotta go the other. So now we're doing the row shrug, 2-to-1 shrug to inverted row. And again, in terms of hand position, no one talks about this, right? But I like to first take the web of the hand there, pin in, wrap the palm, and then wrap the fingers and get a really secure grip. Now, if you find you're using your elbow flexors too much, okay? I like to actually take the thumb, go there, and even wrap around, and it makes me use my back more and less of my arms, okay? So we lock in, but again, start with a secure grip before you get to this position. Until you know this exercise, you do a glute bridge, all right? You know this movement, we do it. Lock up, pull down, and again, don't just get here. See, that's okay, but see how I kind of retract and almost recline my body? Now I'm ready to go, almost like I'm getting slightly inverted. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, I don't lose that hip extension either. And then I'm gonna do a row. From that deep stretch position, I'm gonna drive my hips up and really get the contraction I'm looking for. Works the entire backside of the body. Is it your butt? Is it your hamstrings? Is it your entire spinal muscles? Yeah, it's all of it. Enjoy. The band scap press trains scapular protraction or pushing the shoulder blades away from each other, activating your serratus anterior muscles alongside the ribs, which is key for shoulder health and performance. Now you can do this drill with an overhand grip the whole way, but I also like to mix in this particular variation where I'm actually mimicking the way I would punch. So you start palms facing, and as you push out, you rotate overhand. And it's no surprise, the serratus anterior is called the puncher's muscle, so it's a great way to kind of apply our boxing mechanics. Now you can also take this drill, and I actually like to do it with a scap bar. So I'll put one end of the band around one end of a stick or pipe, or as I call this, a double-sided dildo, and it allows me to kind of get a little more freedom of motion, and it's not as stressful on the hands in terms of using a lighter band. Between takes, we were trying to find you gotta find the light, guys. And when you really mobilize the scapula, the flexing is gonna be out of this. That's where you get the, that extra, you get here, right? You can see this even through my sleeveless hoodie versus here. So the range of motion is gonna make you look fierce. And we're gonna finish it off here in terms of the back with the 2-to-1 pull-up shrug to pull up. All right, grip-wise, you are strongest underhand, maximum biceps recruitment. You are in the most neutral, safe, joint-friendly position, palms facing hammer grip. And that's also gonna let you grip like this instead of here, because again, I'll use more back if I go just 4 fingers wrapped than I will if I get with the thumb. The thumb makes me wanna go here, all right? And the fingers make me wanna go here, and that's what we're trying to work. So I get locked in, and I like to do this, again, you can even start self-assisted, at least on the stretching portion, toes here, if I'm using a door pull-up bar, but full stretch, exhale, and then pull back. You can start with just a basic up, down, that's fine, that's where you begin, but then try to every rep, just pull back a little bit more, really get that scapular retraction, depression going. 2 of those, and then pull up, all right? And then I can do this, exhale up, inhale down, exhale up, inhale down. All right, man, there's no other exercise on the planet that makes you feel like nothing can stop you than a pull-up. It's also the hardest. It's all your body weight. It's everything you carry in life. You gotta use to pull up. Once you can do it, nothing can stop you. And it's not just because I just took an edible. The band Pullapart improves posture, strengthens all of your upper back muscles, including the rhomboids, the traps, and the lats. And it also trains scapular retraction or pulling the shoulder blades back. You can do it with an underhand grip, which winds the shoulder into an external rotation, which targets your lower traps more, which pull the shoulder blades down and mobilizes the shoulder girdle. You can also do it with an overhand grip, and I like to go like this, pull it right across that nipple line, back, and this gets a little more rear delt. All right, I recommend parallel bars for this, or you can use a pair of dumbbells, but I like a neutral grip here. And again, I'm just showing you what this really allows me to do. I get a crazy pec stretch and a little pump here. I'll get you here. Don't worry, I'll get you where I can talk and just like literally talk and have a conversation in this position without destroying my shoulder and actually feeling good, all right? Because I started here and I did 2-to-1 scap push-up to regular push-up or push-up shrug. So palms in. I like to do this with the fingers open. Don't do that until you master it with the hands closed, but better palm, better pec activation. But make fists to start and secure yourself. Inhale down, arms straight, exhale up and round that upper back. Again, neutral grip. I can even kind of, while I'm down there, kind of move side to side, really push away, and then inhale down, stretch I'm getting here. But I have a shoulder foundation. Before I did all these exercises, this would have blown me out, all right? Come back up, and again, 2 push-up shrugs, 1 push-up for time. Come to the knees when you need to, okay? Or modify a really high incline step or bench. Make it work for yourself. Dip bar, high dip bar. People forget about this. Your dip bar can also be used for these movements. And look, see how much more range of motion I get because how light it is? So I can even back off to this or just start feeling the movement here first before I see what I can just really move around and I can stretch here. So again, don't be afraid to use these high parallel bars too. Both of these have been really the key to the upper body gains I've experienced, including the pull-up bar. Those 3, man, spending time hanging in the dip support and in the push-up support for time and moving around, game changer. And this is when I blow up the chest for big extended time under tensions. This is the best sit-up for your shoulders. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do 2 floor presses at the bottom. Inhale down, exhale up. And then I exhale up, pressing the weight overhead. I'm not trying to go forward and flex. I'm trying to drive the weight overhead and get my hips underneath the weight. Then I do 1 overhead press. We use a 2-to-1 on this because you're stronger horizontally pressing versus vertical. But when you string this together for time under tension, your abs are smoking, your shoulders are smoking. This one will test you in a real way. Start with a light weight because it's gonna get spicy fast. The back to belly to get up is my favorite full body mobility exercise. We translate over into the shape where I get my hips pinned to the floor, dig the toes into the ground. I can add a little bit of knee flexion extension to really mobilize it out. And I'm just trying to do a couple deep inhales and exhales into the belly. So pressure your diaphragm into the ground. You can do a single breath or multiple breaths, and once you're good there, we come right back to the back, and then we do a full get up. The challenge is to do it in 1 smooth full exhale. I lost a little bit at the end, but it is possible, and then you want to inhale it all the way back. And then I can go right back into the belly position and basically repeat for time, or just do 1 to 5 reps based on what you're trying to do. But great exercise. First master the back to belly before you add the get up. But combined, it's one of the best, single best big bang for your buck mobility exercises in the fitness game. All right, now we're doing the reverse of that, the horizontal push or scapular protraction, targeting the striatus anterior muscles. We show this on the floor with 1 arm. We're going to 2-arm version, but I'm gonna show this with what's called, what is this called? I forget what it's called. It's from Dynamax. It's a slog. It's like a log. Anyway, but you can see it's like a giant foam roller in this effect for this exercise. which allows me to wrap my scapula around and really get more range of motion through it. Use the floor if you need, but it's a little uncomfortable and you don't get as much motion, and you can modify with a really sturdy foam roller just to get a little bit of that extra thoracic extension. And I like to put the middle of the skull resting at the edge of whatever I'm using, okay? So from here, on the way down, inhale and then try to wrap the scapula around the cylinder and then push your scapula away as far as you can. Like, think about not just knuckling, press through the palms. I don't recommend keeping the fingers open like this, especially if you're new to this exercise, doing this a long time. I like to open them up because if I press through the palm, I get more pec activation and more overall motion, all right? But I go inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Really push away and really wrap on the cylinder. Of course, modify with the floor press. How to get out of this? Just try to get into this position. Keep your abs tight. You never want to get hurt on the exit, all right? And just do a slow hammer curl down. You're good. And then we come up, ready to rock. One arm down dog is an advanced abs and hip mobility exercise. What we want to really focus on doing is get a nice wide base of support, dig your toes into the ground, and keep your quads as active as you can. From there, I'm going to inhale back to the nose into the belly, trying to flatten the heels to the floor. And see where I am right now. Now watch what happens when I use my lower traps to pull my shoulder blades down and kind of push away. See that? That's what I'm looking for there. Get a good stretch. You can pause for 1 or 2 seconds so you can do a little bit of a Uncle Baby hip wiggle. Exhale back. Now, what I'd like you to do to get the most out of this is do a scap push-up. Keep the arms straight. Inhale down. Exhale up. Serratus anterior. Muscles alongside the ribs and shoulders, ability to support. You want to be able to do a single arm push-up. I know you do. Advanced trainees, okay? This is where it starts, because if this is not strong and moving properly, you'll end up moving too much to the elbow and you're gonna get shoulder pain. Now, here's some modifications. One, I can use a push-up handle, a parallel, or a dumbbell. I can go with a neutral grip. This is easier on my wrist. It also puts my shoulder in neutral position and gives me a little bit of elevation for better leverage. So, especially if your calves, ankles, and hips are tight, this will be much more accessible for you. All right? Now I can also play with slant boards. Elevating the heel of the hand will allow me to, if I have wrist mobility issues, be able to do the exercise better and without wrist pain. But if I want to make it an advanced movement, I can elevate the wrist, and having 2 slant boards is nice because I can combine them. And now this is like basically gives you mutant-like wrist mobility. All right? All while stabilizing the spine. So many benefits: mobility, stability, and part of our single arm push-up progression. Do it today! All right, so now we got the overhead shrug with 2 arms, levator scapula and upper traps too, but really working that scapular elevation and depression. Really tough to get the arms overhead. Like if you want to do any overhead stuff, pull-ups, handstand push-ups, snatches, presses, overhead presses, you gotta really get the arms fully overhead. If you can't get enough shoulder flexion, what happens? Boom, hyperextension. So we get into a split stance here, we root ourselves down. I like to put a little slant board or pad to extend the range of motion of it. It actually allows me to get more complete. Look at that. So if I was on the floor, I'd be like this. Because I'm here on this slight angle, I can push through the back toe, drive the hip forward. Now, the stretch in the iliacus area here up into the psoas, especially if I add the arms overhead like I'm here. And we did this in the previous month on the opposite arm, you know, 1 at a time with the weight we use. Now, whatever weight you use, I want you to cut that weight in half because it's much harder to do 2 hands at a time. So I used a 10 on this. Look, I can press some weight, but a 10 was the only load I could use without sacrificing form. And again, these are small muscles. They don't need big loads. In fact, if you use big loads, you hurt your body. So we lock in, hold 1 arm at a time to set yourself, and then root and push. Again, push the palms away. Exhale up, shoulders to ears. Inhale back down. Small movement. And again, at about rep 3, it starts to improve because you just get a little more motion each time. This is a micro movement with major gains. Because if I can just relax my arms in this position and get my hips underneath my shoulders, this is lightweight. When I can't and I'm off balance, I have to yank into my low back. So respect this exercise. It's gonna change the game for your shoulders. It's gonna unlock the key to some serious muscle growth and injury prevention. So I used 5s, and that was plenty. Start with 2.5s. Again, go soup cans, peanut butter jars, or just go fists. But I like to actually squeeze something in the hands because we get more activation, all right, and you actually get more dexterity. These are important. No exercise is more humbling than the crawl, especially for extended time under tension, except when you add a dumbbell with the traveling one-arm bear row. Exhale up, inhale down. Make sure we're not shifting or turning here. Keep everything square to the ground. And then we add some motion to it. Linear option. Do that in round 1. Round 2, or set to set. Let's do it laterally. So how many movements do I have? Too many! We're taking those one-arm row shrugs, and here we go. Hinge at the hips, and again, don't round that spine. Retract those shoulder blades, and create a nice little natural arc in the back. Get those hips back. Ooh, Uncle Big likes to wiggle. Come back down, get set, all right? What I'm gonna do here is the one-arm scap row now with 2 arms, but from a bent row position. Sit back into the hips, feel the stretch of the glutes, hams, but also activate the glutes and hams and protect that low back. Inhale down, moving only through the shoulder girdle. Those scapula just winging out to the side. Exhale back up like you would begin a row. And we're going 2 of those bad boys, and then exhale up, inhale down, and do 1 row. All right, now that's tough. It is tough in the lower back for extended time. If you haven't done this before, 15 to 30 seconds in the beginning, and there's a self-assistance option, but also a way, in my opinion, to get more muscle activation. So that can be the head of the incline bench seat up to about here, or maybe recline 75 degrees. It could be a dip bar, anything like a power rack, rail, whatever you got. I'm gonna hinge back at the hips. And now look, see, in free space, if I don't have the right position, see that position? Now I can rest here because I've created some freedom for my body where I can round the spine, right? I can do that. Now this would blow out some people's backs. This would blow out my back if I just picked up these weights and didn't warm up like I have been shooting all day. Look at this. I am soaked, all right? Just dripping. But I get locked in, and now I can get in better position here by pressing my forehead and also strengthening my neck, by the way. And now right here, if I was in free space, watch that. It's about the best I can do. When I get here, look at that, the extra lift and pull. I just get such leverage here, right? So that's why we're using it, not just to take pressure up the low back, but also to maximize the training effect. I think it's a pretty good combination. You're welcome. The bear to crab roll is an amazing hip and shoulder mobility exercise, also incredible for the core. You take a medicine ball and start light, and you hug it. Maybe even start with a basketball if you need to, or a volleyball, just to get the feel for it. You can also go body weight, but hugging this kind of gives that elbow flexion and more core and trunk tension. What we're trying to do is go from the bear position to the crab. Now initially you might have to keep the hips low, or you might have to stop right here. So that is the easiest version of this, just going from here to here, okay? Or here, all the way but not extended, but ideally you want to get those hips all the way up in one fell swoop, all right? A dog should be able to walk underneath you, or a baby. Inhale back, exhale up, and really get some extension in those hips. This is so good in terms of like a total lie detector test for your mobility, your stability, and again, a 10-pound ball in this. Even the strongest individuals will get smoked with this for about 5 or 10 reps per side. You want to really challenge yourself over about 1 or 2 minutes per side. You're going to love this movement. Nothing wrong with hitting the upper traps. It is an area that is prone to tension, can cause tension headaches, and creates this kind of rise when they're too tight and don't have enough range of motion through them. So start light on this. Focus on range of motion. The key here is you can't have the weights resting here. You got to think about being totally erect. Drive the knees underground, push the hips forward and squeeze the glutes, and then crunch the abs and pull the ribs and shoulders down. Now I'm locked in, I'm ready to go. And don't rest in here, kind of pull them away a bit. Exhale up, pull them up there, and don't just do these fast. No, you gotta contract for a couple seconds. After you fully exhaled, inhale back down and watch the difference. See that there? Now watch. push away. So you can stretch them too. Contract the shit out of them, but then stretch the hell out of them at the bottom, okay? But keep your abs engaged and tight as well. That one, you're gonna get such a good pump to work and grip forms. Look at this. I get so much time under tension, but again, targeting this area in particular, it's really a full body movement, especially for extended time under tensions. Get ready. All right, baby, back to hand plus. Now, we did this before, right? Now we're gonna add some tweaks. Now, the first round of this circuit, we're gonna do a scapular shrug at both the starting and the end position. So what we do here is exhale up, try to create as much space between that shoulder and the floor. Inhale down and pack it under the earth. Same thing here. Overhead shrug. Keeping those abs engaged. Inhale it back. The second round through, we do presses. Inhale down, notice how the forearm is vertical. You already know what's coming, don't you? Here we go, it's cooking! This movement is so sexual, but also so effective. Now, we did the basic one arm bridge. What are we gonna do? Round one, exhale up, inhale down. It's a small range of motion exercise there, okay? Pack yourself down, keep the abs engaged. Notice how I kept everything stable. I wasn't twisting or turning at the body level. The only motion was through the shoulder. In round two, we add the press. All right, man, so much is happening. Both shoulders active. This one, open chain stabilizing. This one, closed chain stabilizing. So it's the most complete shoulder workout you'll ever do. You're welcome. Lateral hinge is no joke, especially when you add the plus. So we're here, locked in, lock out, root yourself down, right? Not here. If you find yourself in this position, it's too heavy, and you gotta keep working on the mobility. Go lighter, so we get locked in here, bicep alongside the ear, and lock out from there. So we got this moving, right? We go to the hand, or I can go to the forearm. What we'll do in round one is I'll do a scap, and then come down, come up. Round two, I'll do a press. Do you hate me? For many of you, the leg sweep was the hardest stage of the get up to work. We're gonna make it harder by doing in round one, the scap, and then bring it back. In round two, the press, and bring it back. Now, if you're struggling with this, you might need to just go body weight only and just focus on just mastering the leg sweep component. Again, you can go like this if you need to, all right? And just work on this even with the arm down. Progress to getting the arm up, add a soup can. And again, off day practice. Best way to strengthen your body is to work on weaknesses and off days with a light load. Another modification on this for just practice is elevating the hands a little bit, and same concept there. You don't have to worry about getting the knee on the ground, but just allows you to feel that kind of swivel, all right, and practice the exercise in a regressed manner. Get after it. Fifth and final stage by this time, like again, if you need to modify and bump the weight down to this point, do so. You're cashed, so this is tough. Overhead lunge with the pluses. In round one, we got our scap shrug from the split kneel, and lock yourself down here from the overhead standing position. Inhale down. Round two, you know what's coming. Presses galore. Now, we talked about you can modify by going shoulder level. If we have high ceilings, you can also start overhead at the bottom, and as you come up, go here. So this allows you to get the press going in kind of a tweener. If you have the ceiling issues, it's also a nice little option that really smokes the low mid traps as a kind of a stabilizer there.